United Matters channel it is. How are you, my mates? It has been really long since I really scheduled this video. And guys, I slept off, right? I slept off and I was like, by the time obviously start of the day, I'll obviously be coming in here to obviously talk to you. We are going to be here for like 30 minutes to obviously discuss onto the stories that really arose yesterday onto how Manchester United is considering the sale of the following players: Marcus Rashford and Scott McTominay, to raise money to see to it that they obviously bolster their squad. Welcome to this channel, and let's see close to 200 likes matching this video. Don't forget to subscribe so as not miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. It's really a very good day, and it's really a little bit of sunny and not sunny in my country, and hope you guys will obviously bear with me into this mix as we obviously address this huge issue of Manchester United. Looking like Erik Ten Hag contract is 90% done, confirmed to us by Fabrizio Romano, and we are going to be really waiting in to obviously see where the world is going to be really taking the people now. So let's obviously get going up and running into the mix. And there is another story about Raphael Varane that we're obviously going to be talking about. Teddy Sheringham was shocked by the decision that was made to see to it that the Glazers and Ineos decided to obviously stay with the man called Erik Ten Hag. We thank God for the gift of life. The Muslims Barakallahu Fikum, and may the living to God bless you and bless you abundantly in here onto this beautiful channel. Now let's start it off with a story that was told to us by Mail Sports. Manchester United will listen to offers for homegrown players Marcus Rashford and Scott McTominay. Mason Greenwood will leave this summer. That's what we went ahead obviously get from the Mail Sport. And even the Times came out and said Manchester United would consider selling Marcus Rashford this summer if he pushed to leave. So their stories all having one thing in common, that United won't stand in the way of Marcus Rashford if Marcus Rashford decides to quit the club of Manchester United. And that is really something huge for us to discuss on here onto this channel, because we obviously know that Marcus Rashford is a home-based player, and even Scott McTominay is a homegrown player. And the Mail also added and told us the reason as to why they want to sell homegrown players. The reason is Man United budget is around £50 million this summer. Any additional funds will have to come from player sales. So for £50 million, I don't really believe that it's £50 million. I think it's more than that. The budget is £100 million, but even if it's £100 million, you cannot come out and say that we are obviously gonna really spend only £100 million, because on average we've been spending £150 million, you get, per season. So all per summer transfer window. So as it stands, we need to sell homegrown players to obviously make profit. For example, when you sell Marcus Rashford for 70 million quid, you know, that will be 70 million quid profit onto your account. You understand? It will be that huge amount of money to see to it that all really goes on as to plan. Now, when you sell Scott McTominay, you'll obviously get that money in, like £40 million, and it said West Ham is interested in signing Scott McTominay. Mason Greenwood too. If United can get £40 million from the sale of Mason Greenwood, then it can help them gather close to £150 million profit from these homegrown players. You know, even Alvaro Fernandez, who is really crossing from United to the side of Benfica for €6 million. So all those are like homegrown players, you understand? And it's pure profit. So that is exactly what Man United is planning to do for these players. Now let's talk about Marcus Rashford. Can I want Marcus Rashford to go? Can I want Marcus Rashford to go? Azrock and David, you know my stance on Marcus Rashford, because he has been inconsistent. He gives you one good season, next season is off. And I tell you, I can easily predict if Marcus Rashford stays at the club of Manchester United, next season, he's really going to be on fire. He's really going to be on fire, and he's going to come in through to obviously score very many goals. And do you know why? Because he will be knowing that he has to see to it that he puts himself on the market. Man United can't stand him anymore. I tell you, And the moment a club comes out and starts putting out stories that they want to sell you if at all you put in a request to leave, then you are no longer as popular as you're supposed to be. And Manchester United will be watching on the shirt sales. They'll be there watching on the amount of shirt sales that Marcus Rashford is going to be making this summer when our new kit come out, and how the other players like Kobe Mainoo and Garnacho are going to be making as far as sales are really concerned. And I can predict in here that Kobe Mainoo, him being English and being talented like that, being at the Euros, and we know he's going to be performing better at the Euros, the moment United drop those kits, I know that Kobe Mainoo and Garnacho are really going to have the most sales, plus Bruno Fernandes at the club of Manchester United. And one of the things that have hugely kept Marcus Rashford at the club of Manchester United, it's all about the number of shirts he sells for the club of Manchester United. But we just went away to see that list that is going to be released by the club of Manchester United very soon on how many shirts did Marcus Rashford really sell. We are waiting to see that list, the top 10 players that really sold a lot of shirts. I know he's not going to be on top this season because his form has been really bad, and these fans all over the world react according to how your performances are. When your performances are really good, you know what will happen? You'll obviously get in a lot of stuff that will really keep you going into that ilk as a player. You know, when you're really performing well, these people will obviously buy your shirts hugely. When you're not performing well, they'll obviously snub you and they'll obviously move on to the next player. And guess what? Who have been the best performing players for Manchester United in the previous season? It has been Diego Dallo. It has been it has been Diego Dallo. It has been Kobe Mainoo. It has been Alejandro Garnacho. It has been Bruno Fernandes. It has been Rasmus Højlund. And I won't be surprised if those 5 players have gone ahead to sell more shirts than any other player this or the previously concluded season. And that means the love and their performances they've gone ahead to exhibit in the previous season are really gonna help them accumulate lots of sales on the shirts that they're gonna really be getting in through from the fans of Manchester United. And that really speaks volumes on as to why Manchester United is willing to obviously let Marcus Rashford go, because he has gotten the heirs to his throne. Homegrown, remember, it has been really a long time since Marcus Rashford hit the ground running at the club of Manchester United for us to have a homegrown player as popular as Marcus Rashford, and moreover being English. You know, the player that had gone ahead to come in through had been Mason Greenwood, and Mason Greenwood found himself in a situation of not really observing his discipline, and you see where he really went. And he's really going to be sold also. He's part of the list that Manchester United is looking to sell and really move on. So that is the man called Mason Greenwood. You know, Garnacho came in through homegrown, but he doesn't have the history of being an English player and a born and bred of Manchester, you know, like Marcus Rashford. Now, the coming in of Kobe Mainoo, a born and bred of Manchester, one of the best players that we're going to hit to see in the world from November last year to May 25th this year. You now know that the heir to the throne has gone ahead to obviously come up, and United is having a breed of young talented players that can now bridge that gap. Marcus Rashford has been here for a very long time, and we've not been producing players from the academy, you know, that really come and excite. Scott McTominay came in through, he was not exciting. Brandon Williams came in through, he was not exciting. It was Mason Greenwood that came in through and was really exciting, but he really went ahead to misbehave. Now for Marcus Rashford, United now have abundance of players that are really going to come in through from the academy. If I mention from those from the academy: Kambuala, Kobe Mainoo, Garnacho, Danny Go. There is Amas coming in through. Whitley is already in line to obviously do his job. There is Koyela, that midfielder that you saw Erik Ten Hag talk to the final of the FA Cup, who made to the bench on several occasions, in the second half of the season. And he's really having a better plan for all those boys. So the plan is simple. United have more players that can really bridge that all fill the boots of Marcus Rashford and even more. Because when you look at how exciting Garnacho is, he just has to improve onto his game product. And I'll tell you that Marcus Rashford is under scrutiny and under fire. The competition is going to be huge. When you look onto the left attacking side of the midfield, if you're having Garnacho as your competitor and Man United are looking to bring in Olise, if the deal really resurrects from Chelsea hijacking it, if United gets in Olise, that means there is no way Garnacho is going to be used as a right attacking midfielder at the club of Manchester United. You understand? There is no way he's going to be used as that kind of player. You understand? So, if that's the case, we'll obviously understand that it's really going to go on as planned. So, Rashford will go head-ons with Garnacho, meaning that the player that will be performing better will be getting to the starting 11 for the club of Manchester United. You understand? And if a player really down stools, he goes straight onto the bench. And Garnacho has gone ahead to prove to us that every season he tries to become better. You remember his debut season of 2020. His debut season of 2020. 2022, 2023. You get? He really looked promising. And this season, he has gone ahead to be one of those players that were not injured in the due course of the season. He has gone ahead to improve. And next season, Garnacho will be targeting 20 goals in all the competitions they're going to be participating in the Premier League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and the UEFA Europa League. That's going to be his target. And Marcus Rashford too is going to be really playing with a player who can really offer than what he can offer in as far as talent is really concerned. And Rashford has been really playing for Manchester United for the last 8 years as a left forward when he's not having what we call a real companion himself, Marcus Rashford, for you. But which teams do expect for him to obviously go ahead and really play for or really come in for? Arsenal, it's rumored that they really went ahead to have secret talks with Pep Guardiola, with Mikel Arteta. That was rumored, but not confirmed. Then, there is also this other side called PSG. It really went ahead to show some huge interest into Marcus Rashford, and I don't know whether the interest still stands because they are interested in him when he went ahead to obviously play those number of games and scored 30 goals this season. And is he still one of those players they're looking at to replace Kylian Mbappe? That remains a very huge question in here for us as the people watching into this channel. But for Marcus Rashford, I would easily let him go. I tell you, let him go. Let Garnacho take over. And after Garnacho taking over, we will really get in another player to obviously do the needful. Because if United can get a Raphael or a Kvaratskhelia, I won't regret losing Marcus Rashford. You understand? And at £70 million, you can as well swap it to get in another left attacking midfielder. And there is another one exciting from France, that I'm going to be talking about, that we've been looking to for the previous 2 weeks, that Man United is being talking about. And I know the scouting department of Man United, can really do a lot to obviously offer us the best that we deserve as a side of Manchester United. So that is it for Marcus Rashford. I would 100% say we should sell him because I don't see anything that's going to be adding onto the team of Manchester United. Value, I don't see value. I don't see value for Marcus Rashford in there for you. Now, after that, after him, they talked about Scott McTominay, right? Talking about Scott McTominay, for me, Erik Ten Hag wanted to really sell him last season. And United wanted £40 million. West Ham were willing to offer 30. And right now, with the season, Scott McTominay is going to hit to have West Ham want to offer £40 million for Scott McTominay. And if I'm Manchester United, I know that of Marcus Rashford is going to be debatable, right? But if you cannot really debate the future of Mason Greenwood at the club of Manchester United with his talent, and you easily make that decision, then why don't you let this boy live? That is Scott McTominay. Why do I want Scott McTominay to leave? One, if you're looking in for a player like Yao Neves, as the next midfielder to obviously play into that CDM area for the club of Manchester United, right? You have to really know that he's expensive. He's going for £106 million. You get? If that's the case, why don't you obviously do the needful and sell Scott McTominay and get in 40? And you know, to eat that, for the bid you made of £51 million to obviously get in this guy, it was less by like £50 million. And if at all you are serious that you need him, then why don't you obviously get in that money and add it onto the 50 and make it top it to 100, and obviously take that money and really bring in that player if at all we really need him. Okay. Or else we'll be needing a player called Ederson, and Ederson will get him at a cheaper price. I think like at £30 million or 40, we can get him. So for me, if at all Manchester United, I concentrate a lot onto what we call the players like Scott McTominay, because they're having teams that have already gonna obviously put in interest to sign them. You get? And in by so doing, you just have to obviously say it's over for Scott McTominay, go to West Ham, get in £40 million, and obviously replace him. And by the way, you obviously have a player called a moment, guys. So you obviously have a player called Amrabat, who you need better in your team than Scott McTominay. And towards the end of the season, he really looked great. In the due course of him looking great, you obviously have to understand how good you have to keep your rapport with him. You understand? So I just want Man United, sell Scott McTominay, get in £40 million, get off £21 million, bring in Amrabat. After bringing in Amrabat, you have a balance of £19 million. And £19 million can be used elsewhere to facilitate onto the deal of a centre-back. You understand? So I think let's go ahead and really sell those players that can really be sold. Scott McTominay is not going to become any better, but we should obviously sell him to West Ham and obviously get in a player that we want. So we wait and see how that pans out. And for Mason Greenwood, I'm going to be doing a story particularly concerning him. But for Marcus Rashford, I know it's going to be debatable. And him leaving the club of Manchester United is really huge. And the board will have to make a huge decision over that. But I think if he's pushing to leave, then United won't obviously stand his way. You get? United obviously won't stand in his way to say to it that he really gets the true definition of what he's supposed to be really doing as a player. So for Greenwood and McTominay, for Greenwood it's 100% chance he's leaving. For Scott McTominay, it's 80% chance that he's gonna leave. And for the side of Marcus Rashford, it's 50-50. He might leave, he might stay. And for a player called Scott McTominay, he's going to be playing in the Euros. And I tell you, Scotland is going to be one of the surprising teams in there for you. And if he puts in a shift as we expect it to be, he's really going to be one of the most interesting people that are gonna show up for Scotland. He was gonna hit to score the most number of goals for the national team of Scotland in the previous campaign, or in the previous the previous season. You get? And he's gonna come in through and really shine. So if he shines at the Euros, United might see itself having very many people going in for the 26-year-old Scot player who we can really get even £50 million for. So we just have to pray to it that Scott McTominay puts up a wonderful season in the Euros and we let him go. If you sell Scott McTominay for 40 and Mason Greenwood for 40, that is £80 million, and that is all coming in through as profit for the club of Manchester United. So that's what I heard about those two players, and I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below. And I'm already having one into the comment section known as Kabangira Innocent. He says Rashford out. Obviously we want Rashford out, and I don't really see him anywhere close to where we want Manchester United to be. So after that, let's obviously get into the mix and talk about Jamie Jackson. You know, Jamie Jackson is a United correspondent for the Guardian and Observer. He told us that Erik ten Hag's willingness to accept Jason Willock's tactical suggestion that he used Bruno Fernandes as the false number 9 in the FA Cup final was a key factor in the Dutchman being retained as a manager. I don't think that this is true. It's not true, because in the FA Cup final, it's not when Erik ten Hag started to use that system of a 4-2-2. Erik ten Hag started using that system when you're playing against Arsenal. You get a 4-2-2. And even in that game, you saw it that Rasmus Højlund started off the bench. And ever since then, he came up with that system. Marcus Rashford, I think, never went ahead, obviously, start any game. So it is really naive for them to say to it that accepting the tactical suggestion. Jason Willock came in through, I think, towards mid-March, and he has been interacting with Erik ten Hag on several occasions. Now, for anyone who comes out and says that he accepted the tactics of Jason Willock, it's not the case. Jason Willock's input would have gone ahead to be really appreciated by Erik ten Hag if at all it's good. Ten Hag is a very good manager, and if at all Jason Willock comes in through with good tactics, then Erik ten Hag would have already gone ahead to deploy them at the club of Manchester United. You understand? And I don't think that Erik ten Hag won't get advice from his technical director, because the technical director is always your boss. And if your boss is having something better to better your side and your team, then why don't you obviously give him an ear and see whether he's telling you is true? So for me, I really rubbish that story. But there is a United legend known as Teddy Sheringham who was shocked when Manchester United went ahead to obviously keep Erik ten Hag on the job. Remember, Teddy Sheringham was the man that equalized for Man United in 1999 in the 89th minute to make it 1-1, and then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer scored the winner to make it 2-1 for Sir Alex Ferguson's first Champions League triumph. You know, in, I think, where were they playing at? And United went ahead to win that Champions League. And Teddy Sheringham said, I'm quite surprised with the decision to keep Erik ten Hag, to be honest. It could have gone either way. But Ten Hag had a really poor season in the Premier League, losing 14 games and didn't have the consistency that Man United really look for and expect. At the end of the day, though he's won the FA Cup in a brilliant fashion by beating Man City in the final, it could have been any harder on paper. It could have gone either way. They could have easily said that their Premier League form wasn't good enough. He concluded and said, I reckon they are flipping a coin on whether to let him go or not, and they've decided to carry on. Now, this is where I ask how naive these people are. You know, these people are really very naive, right? Very, very naive. And their naivety has gone ahead to obviously make them really attack Erik ten Hag. You know, if You know how injured United was, and if at all you know the basics of any club, that it's always the defense, then if you know exactly how things really pan out, especially when a team is really having injuries, then why do you come out and pin Erik ten Hag? You understand? Why do you come out and pin Erik ten Hag? You know, that he would have gone ahead to be sacked. And I know that everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but I want people to be objective and very basic on what they're really doing. You just don't wake up on any day and really throw in your shit, you know, to the public eye. You are supposed to be very, 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 very realistic when it comes to what you are saying about these guys. So, Teddy Sheringham, you are a United legend, and the manager that made you a United legend almost got sacked if it wasn't the FA Cup. And consistency at Man United has gone ahead to be lacked, and this manager had a very good opening season. He won the Carabao Cup, played the FA Cup final, quarterfinals of the UEFA Europa League, and then he found himself in a position of finishing third. And the injuries in the previous season that had to affect him, and you were surprised that he wasn't sacked. Football is not meant for you certain people. You know, you are really good, but sometimes you obviously want to really put out controversial decisions for you to trend. But for Teddy Sheringham, I have no more words for him, because I believe they don't really know what United is all about in as far as keeping a manager. For keeping Sir Alex Ferguson here for a very long time, that's why United is what it is. If they had gone ahead to make a decision to sack him, then United wouldn't have gone ahead to be the club we are, you know? Keeping him around has gone ahead to contribute to 11 Premier League trophies, FA Cup trophies, 2 Champions League trophies, you know? Sir Alex Ferguson for you. Then, I'm having Kasule Rashid. It's like Rashford is tired and needs a new challenge elsewhere. When you see him running, it's like a burden, yeah. Though in the FA Cup finale, he put up a very good shift, and I was like, where has been Rashford all this long throughout the season? To obviously show to it that I'm the guy. I think he needs a new challenge to rejuvenate his career. Kasule Rashid, it's better to cash in and get another striker who really needs to put up a good show. Right, you let Marcus Rashford really leave. If you get in like 60 or 70 million pounds, you let him leave and go, because we are having better players that can really do the job even without him, I tell you. Musa Ibrahim, hello bro, what you tell me about Greenwood is gonna be sold, and his move to Juventus is really very close. It's very, very close, and here we go. Anytime from now will be hard that United has gonna hit to reach an understanding with Juventus, and Mason Greenwood will be flying there to obviously do a medical and obviously play for Juventus, you know. But I'll be so much interested into the terms that are going to be put on the table or in the contract, because I want to hear what we call a sell-on clause. Ndaula Deo Gracious, but already, I always doubt these ex-players who have understanding football. They don't understand football. It's not meant for them, mate. It's not meant for them, and they're really naive. Totally naive, and they don't know what they're really talking about. Because if you know what you're talking about, why don't you be objective? You know? I would expect him to obviously say, I'm surprised that Ten Hag was not sacked as a United manager, but keeping in mind that he had some injuries, right? Then we are here not surprised. And I think the injuries really kept him on the job. That is it. So, don't really come out and put out your utter shit of nonsense, you know? They obviously need to watch their brains and use their heads when they're really thinking. I want people who are really objective, not people who are really very, 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 very one-sided. Now, we have been told that Raphael Varane is in talks to join Inter Milan on a free transfer, and even Fabrizio Romano has told us that on Raphael Varane links, Inter Miami have just made an approach to ask on Varane's potential free agent deal conditions. Nothing else at the moment. no negotiations, nothing advanced, all decided. That is it. So Raphael Varane is really going to be looking to play elsewhere, and I think for him he looked like he's already tired, because he's one of the persons that came out to be vocal that the players play very many games. Yet even 10-15 years back, there were the same number of games that players used to play, and it looks like he wants to retire, and obviously go into retirement. And the best way to go into retirement is to go to America and obviously enjoy yourself. I'm having Muslim Hassan, has Man United signed any player? No, we haven't gone ahead to sign any player. Kasule Rashid, how about getting Sporting Lisbon midfielder whose name is like Hoyland? I think that guy is really very good, but I've not had him on the list. The midfielders we're going to have to be linked to is Yao Neves, Benfica, Yusuf Fofana, Monaco, Ederson coming in through from Atlanta. Then I've had Onana, Everton, Bruno Guimaraes, Douglas Luiz. You know, we wait and see. Then Musa Ibrahim Todibo, to you, Man United bro. I just love him. By the way, he's the first player supposed to sign because he plays for Nice. And remember, Ineos are the owners of Nice. And I think we could do this deal very, very easily to see it that Todibo crosses to come to the club of Manchester United in a nick of time. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Rock and David is my name. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in a daily. Kabangira Innocent, Kasule Rashid, Musa Ibrahim, thank you for obviously being in here. And I'm signing out for now. See you later. We're obviously going to be doing a lot. McTominay should stay. Kalunji, Gilbert, I don't think he should stay. He should be sold. David Sa, United have 35 million transfers budget. It's David Sa, that's a lie. The budget is like 100 million pounds minus sales. And when you look at the players that United are going to really be selling, United might have a budget of 200 million pounds to spend. You understand? So that is it. I'm out. See you later.